Welcome to Life, Death, and the Law, presented by the law firm of Deason, Garner, and Hansen, hosted by attorneys Sean Garner and Adam Hansen.
I've got Jonathan Lyons here, and we've got James Tanner. Both of you guys I know in the community are very active. But in addition to everything you do, not only in your families and in the community, you also on Sundays have a different role. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that.
Well, it's more than Sundays.
Yes, that's true. It's more than Sundays. Thank you for correcting me. But it's kind of unique. The church that you belong to, it's not most churches will have a pastor or some sort of ecclesiastical leader that earns money from the congregation's donations in order to keep the doors open, the lights on, and bring others to Jesus Christ, right? But in your faith, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't receive any money for what you do. It's volunteer, and you're asked to do something, and you can say yes or no.
Correct.
And one of those things that you were asked to do was to be in charge of large congregations for a certain amount of time, over a course, let's say, of 4 or 5 years. Right? Would that be accurate?
That's accurate.
Yep, pretty accurate.
In our faith, in our church, we don't have a paid clergy. We're a lay clergy, and we're called to serve one another. So everybody that serves is volunteer, and so we volunteer our time. You certainly don't ask for it.
Yeah.
Or campaign for it in any way.
Or aspire for it.
Or aspire for it. It's just something you're asked to do out of service for a certain period of time, and then it's somebody else's turn to assume that role and position and act in that stewardship.
You two gentlemen, you're moving along your lives, minding your own business.
Everything's nice and good.
And then somebody comes to your door, I guess, or calls you and says, hey, can you dedicate 5 years of your life at least to meeting with the members every Sunday, meeting with them throughout the week for different things?
Was that just with the youth?
Meeting with the youth. Was that an overwhelming feeling? Was it, I got this?
I was trembling. I literally just kind of went, oh my, and I could feel a visible trembling because it was not anything that I had even begun to imagine would happen. And yes, the nervousness and this scaredness hits right off.
Yep.
But then the biggest calm came over me. And I don't know how else to explain it. It was just a feeling of peace and comfort and knowing I was going to be okay. I've always had that feeling that all is going to be okay.
Interesting.
You'll find the way to work around it. You'll find the way to handle issues and how to encourage people and do what you do. But, the calm always comes back, even though there's times of strife. The calm ends up coming back and knowing that all is well.
Our responsibility as bishops is to invite our brothers and sisters to come unto Christ, point the direction and get out of the way, and then facilitate and apoyar.
Sustain or uphold.
Sustain, uphold, or support them in that process. And it's been one of the most satisfying experiences in seeing people change their lives and then come unto the Savior with full purpose of heart. And that's the only reason that you're there, to be a servant to the congregation and to reassure them that the Lord loves them and He will sustain them in their trials and tribulations.
Each of you have your own lives. James, you're over at the hospital.
Correct.
So you've been there for quite a while. How long has it been?
In May, it'll be 11 years.
11 years at YRMC. Well, On Vita now.
On Vita Health now.
They went through the brand change.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you've been with that organization. Prior to that,
I came out of Utah. I worked at a hospital with Intermountain Healthcare in Utah. Mm-hmm. And then prior to that was Tucson.
What's your daily work like? I mean, do people know at work that you've got this second identity? You're kind of like Superman, Clark Kent at YRMC, and then...
Well, I wouldn't say Superman / Clark Kent there, but I did tell my team members when the call came, I brought them in and just said, I need to share this with you because, my life is going to be changing in a major way. and just want to let you know that there may be times that you may be trying to get a hold of me that I'm not going to be able to respond as quickly as I would by answering the phone or a text message, and kind of went through what the roles and responsibilities are. And it's actually, my doing that it's opened the doors for me to kind of share with them experiences as we've gone along. And I've had 3 or 4 of them from time to time ask how's it going, and what fun things are happening, and I tell them about it, weekend activities and things that that we've been doing, and it's been a nice way to share with them, and they've been part of that journey as well, even though not a single one of them is a member of the church. They are interested and in what it is that I'm going through, and how how my perspective on things has obviously changed as I've learned and grew with the experiences that I've had.
Were you nervous that when you made this big reveal to them that they were going to treat you kind of like a pariah? Oh, great. He's talking about religion. You don't talk about politics or religion. It's taboo.
I didn't, because I didn't worry about that because of the type of relationship that we'd already established. And I've never really touted religion and church much to them, but yet they all knew that I am a gentle individual, that their language changed once I started being around, that they are not using the same type of language. And I've never said anything to anybody saying, hey, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't, use this word, or you wouldn't say this or that. They've just picked up on that because this is who I am, and they respect that.
Jonathan, you're big into construction, let's say. You got a very successful, long-established tradition of roofing here in the Yuma community.
Roofing, insulation, acoustical, a little bit of just dabbling in other things.
Make your plug for Lines and Lundgren.
Here you go.
This is your free plug.
Whether it's a hole in your roof or a whole new roof.
That's right. We'd hear that for
Take
years.
care of small holes or the entire thing.
You and I were eating dinner yesterday in the backyard of your parents' house.
Yep.
And you saw the roof of the neighbor's house, and you said,
I can look up. I said, well, my wife is a proofreader. I said, she can look at a page and she can see the misspelled words. They just jump off the page. I can look at a roof and tell you everything that's wrong with it just by looking at it. And we had a good laugh about that.
Yeah, because you saw something.
Yes.
And you had to really work hard to point it out to me. I could not see what you're talking about.
And my guys had just been on that roof, and I was like, they missed one piece. And it was about a 4-inch piece. But I could see it.
So how did your life change? I mean, in your workspace, you're the boss. So did you have like this powwow like James talked about, or was it more like just a quiet transition?
Well, working in that family business, we've all had the opportunity to serve in different capacities. My dad has served. My uncle has served. He went away for a time, and I managed a lot with my dad while he was gone. My brother has served, and he did that after coming off of his mission. Then I went back to my office staff, where I've got 2. One's a member of our church, and the other one's not. I just told them that my life would change a little bit, that there were things that I would need to do. And they said, yeah, we're here to take care of it. And probably the most important aspect is right now, my brother Michael and my dad taking care of things when I'm not there.
Because they work in the business too.
Because they work in the business with me every day. Mm-hmm. And so they have an additional load upon their shoulders. But it was one that they were willing to do for the most part.
Day to day.
The rest was by default, yeah. But yeah, it's a great opportunity, and even as the boss, you still have to make sure that everything is running smoothly. And so asking them to support you in these extracurricular activities are important. And I felt very well sustained and lifted up. And then my uncle has come back when I've needed him. And so he'll take care of 2 or 3 things during the week for me just to lighten the burden. And I appreciate that sustaining hand and in enabling me to dedicate the time that I need to be able to work. Primarily during the week, you're working with the youth, and you do that a couple of nights a week, and or you're meeting with members and trying to help them resolve challenges and differences in their lives. And then, Sundays are dedicated to the congregation as a whole. And I've absolutely loved serving in that capacity and looking for every opportunity to bless the lives of the members of our congregation and to work with the other bishops.
But why? That's my question, because, listeners and other people watching this is like, why? What is it? What do you get out of it?
Absolutely,
question, right?
Absolutely nothing other than to see the satisfaction of finding somebody who's lost, being an emissary of the Savior, being on his errand, being able to extend an invitation to come unto Christ and to see their lives change. We have the opportunity to really see our brothers and sisters as the Savior would, and it changes your heart. It changes your whole outlook on life and how you see people. You don't see them as extranjeros, foreigners, and I'm not talking about borders of a country, but you don't see them as anything other than being our brothers and sisters, being here upon this earth, being given that charge to look after one another. I think, the encapsulation of the two great commandments, to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, might, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. That really is how you encapsulate the charge that we have and the invitation that we have to invite others to do the same. And so to see people's lives change, it changes you permanently as well, because you see their conversion to the gospel of Jesus Christ.
If you have questions or want to know more about something that was discussed today, please call the law firm of Deason, Garner, and Hansen at 928-783-4575 or visit yumaestateplanning.com.